Hello there, Pisces. Welcome to your weekly reading. So this reading is going to run roughly from August 20th to Sunday, August 26th. First of all, I want to apologize for not being able to do the monthly readings for you. I sustained a sports injury with my left hand and I couldn't shuffle the cards. And this happened to me the beginning of July. So I apologize for not being able to get the readings out for you. Additionally, I just want to say, I'm changing the method mainly because the weekly readings are a little bit shorter, so it's more interesting, more fun for me rather than doing the longer monthly reading. So we're just going to try this for the remainder of this month and see how things go. And then, September I might or might not do the shorter readings and revert to the longer reading. But either way, we'll figure it out as we go, okay? So thank you for those who are still tuning in. My apologies, okay? Let's go into the reading, however. So the first row deals with your love life, and the second row deals more with work, family, finances, and more of a general reading, okay? So the energy can overlap. There could be love messages from here as well, but whatever comes in while I start the reading, I'm just going to relay the information to you. So let's talk about this. We have here the Four of Pentacles. So it seems almost as if in the love front, many of you have released a relationship partner. You're just like, I'm done with this. It is emotionally very destabilizing for me to be in it. And many of you, I honestly feel like you might have been dealing with somebody and you're looking at them through a different light. You're seeing them for the first time. And there might be quirks or, personality traits or things about them that you're not very fond of, okay? So I feel as if you might be dealing with somebody who's very resistant to change, okay? Four of Pentacles, hanging on very tightly to our values, being very stubborn, unwilling to change, unwilling to make a move, unwilling to do things outside of the norm or step out of our comfort zone. So I feel for many of you, you were dealing with somebody like that. And the more they resist, the more difficult it is for you. I see many of you juggling the relationship and your job. It's almost like there's an emotional disconnect here between you and the other person where they don't really understand why you're so busy. They don't really understand why you get home from work and you're exhausted. Or they don't really understand why on the weekends you just want to stay home and rather than go out and, paint the town red, for example. So there's an emotional disconnect between you and the other person in that you don't understand where they're coming from and they don't understand where you're coming from. The Six of Cups in the reverse usually indicates a situation where your values might be different. So you look at life through different worldviews. And your values might be so different where you have to constantly explain and spell out everything for the other person in order to get them to understand. They likewise have to explain everything in order to get you to understand. So communication, let's just say communication is really front and center. This is an air type of energy. It deals with being left in the dark, not knowing what to do, feeling very confused, and it's a very frustrating place to be as a water sign because you have to spell things out for the other person. A lot of the times you're so patient and you're so intuitive that you expect the other person to automatically get what you're feeling because you get what they're feeling, right? But when we're dealing with other people, especially of a different nature, especially of a different suit from us, and they might do things that can be a little bit annoying, or they might show flaws and things like that, it's almost like you're discovering it for the first time, and it's throwing a wrench in the works for you. And so the best policy in relationship overall is to speak up. People cannot read your mind. Pisces, you can read other people's minds, I'm sure. But people cannot read your minds. If you want something, you have to spell it out for them. If you want to get a point across, you have to explain and err on the side of needing to over-explain so that they understand where you're coming from. So I feel like you're dealing with frustration, but you're not really voicing it, and you're not really being vocal about it, okay? So it's not good to hold these things in, and it's not good to assume that the other person understands you. So I feel like, Some of you who are single, you've released a person. You've released a person. You're done with that connection. And I feel like there's still communication and talks and things like that, because financially you're not separated from them. So they could be, paying the bills. They could be paying child support, alimony. You could be the one paying child support and alimony. And you're still not done with that connection. You're trying to move on with your life as well. But you're just like, where do I look? Who do I go to? And when is the right person going to come along? So some of you are dating, but the connections that are coming through, they're not really exceptional. They're not really, they're kind of like mediocre people here and there, but you're trying to build something solid. And so I feel as if the universe is telling you, the people that are willing to build with you, they're going to be coming into the picture. But you cannot assume that the emotional connection is going to dictate everything. So just because, the emotional connection is not there at the beginning, it doesn't mean that you should cross them off your list. Give it a little bit more time. The earth energy, this is like, it builds up with time. It takes a lot of dates. It takes a lot of conversation, a lot of phone calls, and a lot of open and honest communication from you. You hold a lot of stuff in, and I feel like people might misunderstand you. And then I also feel as well, for many of you, you're so intuitive that you can kind of see through people and their BS, but you don't say anything about it. And then the other person kind of push boundaries with you. And so it's really important to voice your opinion and to have that open channel of communication so that you can understand the other person, and more importantly, so that they can understand you, and then they can start building with you. So it's almost like telling you, because you're the sign of the fish, but it's also swimming in different directions. So it's almost like you're working at cross purposes with yourself when you are out there dating and trying to find the right relationship partner. You're trying to find that kindred soul, that other half, your soulmate. And you feel like once I meet that person, I will know. Every fiber of my being will know. Well, relationships doesn't really start that way, and it requires building. It requires consistency. It requires, a lot of work and dedication in order to make it stick, in order to make it lasting, okay? So give it a little bit more time. Go through the connection. Try to get to know each other, and, tell the other person how you really feel. Open up a little bit more, and whatever you're looking for, I feel like, demand it of them, okay? Just because the emotional connection is really strong doesn't mean they're the right one for you. It takes somebody who's responsible and dependable. So if you're dating somebody and you're not really sure how you feel about them, as long as they're stable and dependable, it's definitely a green light for you to go ahead, okay? For those of you in relationships, if you have children with the other person, if there are finances, if there are financial issues as well, it's going to be very glaring for this week, okay? Finances, where are we wasting money? And then growing impatient with your relationship partner too, because of values differences, because of parenting styles as well. The Six of Cups deals heavily with children. Those are things that you want to be a little bit careful about, okay? Just be careful about that. I feel like the energy is very short and transient, but I feel like it's still going to be a little bit aggravating to deal with, okay? And so try to work through these issues. Try to have that open channel of communication. If you're not happy about something, for the love of God, please tell your partner. You guys hold so much in, and you're just kind of like, oh, let's just see what happens. Let's just see what happens. Well, it's not the right time to do that. It's really important to voice your opinions and make sure the other person is on board, okay? In terms of your work life and everything else, let me talk about this. The Eight of Pentacles, sending out resumes, not feeling entirely too good about where you currently are, sending out resumes, making connections. And for those of you who are like a contractor or you are self-employed, You're creating business cards. You're networking. You're sending out pieces of yourself. You're showing people your portfolios. You're doing PowerPoint presentations to kind of get your name out there. For those who are looking for work or even looking to change your work situation, you're sending out resumes. You're sending out like letters of recommendations, references, and things like that in order to land the job that you want. And this is a great energy. What you're leaving behind is this. The devil deals with a work situation that can be a little bit toxic, okay? Toxic coworkers. The work is not itself very fulfilling. It just pays the bills, and then you go through it, and every day that you leave work, you're just like, I wish there was something more to it. I wish it was more exciting. I wish it was more dynamic. And I wish that it's just, better. I wish I could be somewhere else or doing something else. And I feel you don't feel like this is something that you're going to make a career out of, okay? This is a card about destiny and fate and, professional development. When it's in the reverse with the devil, it's almost like, I can do this for right now. It pays the bills, but it's not very inspiring. That's the word. You're not very inspired by the work that you're doing. And I also feel like the toxic energy in the work front is very covert. It's sort of like maneuvering behind the scenes, people with hidden agendas, or even people with personality issues. And it's very covert. It's very under the radar. People aren't open and flamboyant and flaunting it. People are just, every man for himself almost. And I feel like there are some people in your work environment that you might not enjoy their company, or you might not even enjoy conversations with them. And you have to, plaster on this nice guy, nice girl facade just to get through the day, just so you don't step on anybody's toes. So the energy seems to me to be very tense and very covert. And this week even, it's still coming out. And so I feel many of you are looking for other jobs. Many of you are like, looking at other options, okay? Which is really good. I definitely feel that you should do that, because I don't feel like there are coworkers sabotaging you. I don't sense that, because the energy is not very direct. It's very, very covert. It's very under the radar. You feel it going to work, but no one is saying anything about it, but you already know, this is not where I want to be. This is not a professional, development track. It's good because it pays the bills. It's stable, so I'm hanging on to it. But at the end of the day, I want work that is more meaningful, more inspiring, that will, make me feel good about coming to work every day. So I feel like many of you are thinking about this process where you're spreading your wings, you're moving on, and you're, looking for something else, all right? It looks to be very good. If this is where if this is what you're feeling, definitely get to this point where you can look at other options, okay? And then on the relationship front, it's almost like a mixed message for different sectors. Relationship takes a while to build, whereas with work, if you're not happy, leave it, okay? So I feel like that's a little bit of a mixed message concerning your love life and your professional life. And that's why I do the spreads as two separate spreads, okay? I hope it has been helpful for you guys. Thank you so much for those who are still sticking around. I will be a lot more consistent with the reading. My hand has healed, okay? So I apologize, but I hope this is coming in a timely manner, and I hope it's still helpful for you guys. Take care, Pisces. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.